Every month, the scene repeats itself. The salary lands in the account and, for a few moments, a sense of relief emerges. It's like taking a deep breath after holding your breath for a while. But this relief doesn't last long. In a few days, sometimes in a few hours, the money already has a certain destination: rent, water, electricity, internet, credit card, groceries. When the person realizes it, the balance has already returned to almost zero. Most people live exactly like this, waiting for their salary to pay bills, not because they're irresponsible, but because they were never taught to do it differently. From an early age, we learned that the goal is to earn more, work more hours, seek a raise, change jobs for a higher salary. It seems logical, but that's where the trap lies. Robert Kiyosaki teaches something that completely changes this way of thinking. It's not how much you earn that defines your financial life, but what you do with the money that passes through your hands. Imagine two people earning the same salary. One finishes the month with nothing. The other, even earning the same, manages to save, invest, and plant something for the future. The difference isn't in the salary amount, but in the decisions. Money is like water passing through a pipe. If it comes in and goes out without control, it never fills anything. But when you learn to direct this flow, even little by little, something begins to change. This is the first awakening, understanding that the salary didn't come just to pay bills. It can be the beginning of something greater. Now imagine a wheel spinning non-stop. Inside it, several people run all day long, always tired, but without leaving the spot. This is the image that Robert Kiyosaki uses to explain the so-called rat race. It's when the person works, receives the salary, pays the bills, and goes back to work. Month after month, year after year. The problem isn't working. The problem is trading all your time only for money. When you only earn if you're present, active, and working, you're trapped. If you get sick, the money stops. If you take vacation, the money decreases. If you age, insecurity grows. It's a silent cycle, which many only notice when they're already too tired. This is where the first real step to change your financial life comes in: the mindset shift. Leave the way of thinking only as an employee and start thinking as an investor. The employee asks, "How much will I earn this month?" The investor asks, "What can I do today so that money works for me tomorrow?" Making money work for you doesn't mean stopping work now. It means using part of today's effort to build something that continues generating value in the future. It's like planting a seed while still living off the harvest of another. In the beginning, the seed is small, but over time, it grows. And when this happens, you stop running all the time and finally start moving forward. After the mindset begins to change, a simple but powerful question arises: where to start? Many people believe that investing is something distant, only for those who earn a lot. But the truth is that almost every financial transformation starts small. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that separating a part of the salary, even if it's only 10%, is essential. It's not the amount that matters in the beginning, it's the habit. Think of this as saving seeds. Nobody expects a seed to become a tree overnight, but if it's never planted, nothing grows. When the person decides to separate this part, something curious happens. They start living with what's left, not with the total. In the beginning, it seems tight, even uncomfortable. But gradually, the brain adapts. Unnecessary expenses begin to be questioned, choices become more conscious, and control increases. And investing doesn't just mean putting money somewhere. Knowledge and skills are some of the best investments that exist. Learning about money, developing a new capability, understanding how the financial world works. All of this generates returns throughout an entire life. Unlike a common expense, nobody takes knowledge away from you. It accompanies every future decision. This is the moment when the person stops just surviving month to month and begins to build, even slowly, a different path for the future. Many people say, When there's something left over, I'll save. The problem is that there's almost never anything left over. Something always appears, an unexpected bill, a desire, an excuse. That's why Robert Kiyosaki teaches something direct and powerful. Treat savings as a mandatory bill. Think of this like rent or the electricity bill. You don't wait for money to be left over to pay these bills. You organize yourself because you know they need to be paid. With savings and investments, it should be exactly like this. It's not optional. It's a commitment to your future. There's a phrase that makes many people reflect. If you can't live on 90% today, you'll hardly live better earning double tomorrow. This happens because the problem is rarely in the income, but in the behavior. When income increases, expenses usually increase together. Life becomes more expensive, but tranquility doesn't arrive. Learning to live with a little less now is training. Training in discipline, choice, and control. It's not about going without, it's about stopping spending without thinking. Those who master this while earning little master it more easily when earning more. At this point in the story, something changes inside. The person stops depending only on the next salary and begins, even slowly, to build security. And financial security begins exactly here, with commitment, not with leftovers. Many people believe they can't invest because they earn little. But most of the time, the real problem isn't how much comes in, but how much escapes without being noticed. Money disappears in small daily decisions that seem harmless, but which together cause silent damage. Controlling expenses isn't living in fear of spending, it's starting to see. When you create a simple budget, something almost magical happens. Money stops being a mystery. You begin to understand exactly where each part goes, and what before seemed impossible begins to make sense. A budget doesn't need to be complicated. It can just be a clear list: how much comes in, how much goes out, and on what. By doing this, waste begins to appear. Subscriptions that aren't used, impulse purchases, small expenses that repeat every month. Separately, they seem irrelevant. Together, they could become an investment. It's at this moment that the person realizes that controlling expenses isn't punishing yourself, it's freeing yourself. Each real saved without suffering becomes a tool. A tool to invest, to learn, to build something greater. Money stops commanding you, and you start commanding money. This step brings clarity, and clarity generates decision-making power. Without it, any financial plan becomes just intention. Most people always follow the same order. First they pay the bills, then they spend on leisure, and if something's left over, they try to save. The problem is that almost always, nothing is left over. Robert Kiyosaki teaches to reverse this logic with a clear rule: pay yourself first. Paying yourself first means separating, as soon as the money comes in, a part for savings or for investments. Before the credit card, before the bills, before comfort. Not because the bills aren't important, but because your future is also a bill, and one of the most important ones. When the person does this, in the beginning they feel a certain squeeze. But this squeeze is precisely what activates creativity. They start seeking solutions, negotiating expenses, avoiding waste. Instead of automatically spending everything, they begin to think before each decision. Those who adopt this habit build wealth almost without noticing. It's not something fast or miraculous. It's silent. Month after month, year after year, the separated money begins to grow. And more important than the amount is the constancy. This is how ordinary people with ordinary salaries manage to reach a place that previously seemed impossible. This is a watershed. Those who pay themselves first take control of their own financial life. Here, many people get stuck without realizing it. Because debts seem normal: installment credit cards, long installments, financing that lasts years. All of this is sold as something common, almost inevitable. But Robert Kiyosaki warns, unnecessary debts are one of the biggest brakes on financial freedom. When you live in debt, part of your monthly effort is no longer yours. You work today to pay for past decisions, and the more debts, the less space is left to invest, learn, or grow. It's like trying to run, carrying an increasingly heavy backpack. Avoiding debts doesn't mean never buying anything. It means thinking like an owner, not just as a consumer. The employee mentality usually asks, will it fit in my salary? The owner mentality asks something different. Will this improve my financial life, or will it trap me even more? Those who develop this mentality begin to see opportunities where before they only saw limitations. Instead of depending only on salary, they start seeking solutions, an extra income, a service they can offer, something they know how to do better than average. The focus changes from how much will I receive to how can I generate value. This change is silent but deep. The person stops waiting for someone to solve their financial life, a boss, a raise, the government, and takes responsibility. This doesn't bring weight, it brings freedom, because when you understand that you can create paths, salary stops being the only way out and becomes just one of the tools. At this point in the journey, fear begins to diminish. Not because everything is resolved, but because now there is direction. Here is a simple difference, but one that changes everything. The rich buy assets. Most people, without realizing it, buy liabilities thinking they are investments. And this is exactly what keeps so many people working their entire lives without leaving the spot. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. It may be little in the beginning, but it comes in. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket every month. The problem is that many liabilities are sold as symbols of success. When someone buys, they feel they've won. But financially, they start to lose. The mistake isn't in wanting comfort or quality of life. The mistake is in buying things that only generate expenses before building assets that sustain that lifestyle. It's like putting the roof before the walls. Sooner or later, everything collapses. Those who understand this difference begin to think differently before spending. The question changes. Instead of, do I deserve this? It becomes, will this help or hinder me financially? This simple questioning avoids years of wasted effort. In the beginning, assets can be small. Something simple that generates little, but each asset is like a silent worker. It continues there, working for you, even when you're busy with other things. And the more of these workers you build, the less dependent you become on your own time. This understanding is a milestone. From here, money stops being just spent and begins to be strategy. There comes a moment when the person realizes controlling expenses and investing is essential, but increasing income is also part of the game. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that depending on a single source of income is risky, and the more skills you develop, the more opportunities arise. Increasing income doesn't necessarily mean working to exhaustion. It can be learning something new, offering a service, creating extra income, or even starting a small business. The important thing is to understand that your value in the market grows as your knowledge grows. But here there's a silent trap. When income increases, many people increase their standard of living at the same speed. A bigger expense here, another there, and in the end, everything remains the same. Earns more, but continues without building anything. That's why control needs to walk together with growth. If part of the extra income goes directly to assets and investments, progress accelerates. If it only goes to consumption, the feeling of improvement lasts little. Those who understand this start using increase as leverage, not as an excuse to spend more. This is how small improvements today transform into big results in the future. Financial insecurity doesn't come only from lack of money. It comes from uncertainty, from the fear of losing your job, of getting sick, of something unexpected happening. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that investing in assets and building passive income is the way to get out of this constant state of worry. Passive income is when money continues coming in even when you're not working directly at that moment. In the beginning it's small, sometimes almost imperceptible, but that doesn't mean it's not important. On the contrary, each small recurring amount is a sign that something is working. Many people give up because they want fast results. But building assets is like raising a house brick by brick. Nobody sees progress on the first day, but with discipline, the structure begins to appear. The secret is in constancy, not in haste. Starting small is not only acceptable, it's intelligent. Over time, assets grow, multiply, and begin to connect. One helps strengthen the other, and little by little, exclusive dependence on salary decreases. At this stage, something powerful happens. The person starts making decisions more calmly. Fear loses strength, not because everything is resolved, but because now there's foundation, there's long-term vision. And this is what separates those who live putting out financial fires from those who build real stability. Nothing of this is maintained without continuous financial education. Robert Kiyosaki makes it clear, knowledge isn't an expense, it's an investment. Unlike money, which can come and go, knowledge stays. It accompanies every decision, every choice, and every opportunity throughout life. The world changes, the market changes, the rules change. Those who stop learning fall behind, even if they've already achieved something. That's why learning about money shouldn't be something temporary, but a habit. Reading, listening, observing, reflecting. Small doses of constant learning create great differences over the years. Each new understanding improves the way you use the money you already have. And when this happens, money starts working better for you. It's a positive cycle. Learn, apply, make fewer mistakes, advance more. In the end, financial education isn't about getting rich quickly. It's about living with more clarity, security, and freedom. Those who understand this realize that it's never too late to start, but the sooner you start, the further you go. If this story made sense to you, think about this. The knowledge you acquire today may be shaping the tranquility you'll live tomorrow. There's a mistake that almost nobody notices, but that keeps most people in exactly the same financial place for years. This mistake isn't earning little, it's not making a bad investment, and it's not even having debts in the past. The mistake is thinking that you can change your financial life without changing your daily behavior. Many people consume content about money, get excited for a few days, make a mental plan, and then return to the same habits. The problem isn't lack of information, it's lack of consistency. And consistency isn't something grandiose. It lives in small, repeated choices. It's when you decide to write down your expenses instead of ignoring them. It's when you choose not to make installments on something you don't need. It's when you separate the money for the future before thinking about the present. These decisions seem too small to make a difference, but they're exactly what shape the final result. Those who live financially calm today didn't do something extraordinary every day. They just did the basics in the right way for long enough. At this point in the journey, money begins to stop being a constant problem and becomes a tool. Not because everything is resolved, but because now there's control, awareness, and direction. Much of financial decisions aren't born from logic, but from emotion. People buy to relieve tiredness, to feel rewarded, to keep up with others, or to fill a momentary emptiness. The problem is that the relief is quick, and the consequence is lasting. When you start taking better care of money, it's not just a change in numbers, it's an internal change. You start noticing your own impulses. You learn to pause before spending, to ask if that really makes sense for the moment in your life. This pause is powerful. It returns control. And financial control doesn't mean rigidity, it means awareness. It's choosing to spend when it makes sense, and not because emotion commanded it. Those who develop this awareness begin to exit the cycle of financial regret. That cycle of spending, blaming yourself, and then repeating. Instead, a new pattern emerges. Think, decide, and move forward with more tranquility. This maturation is silent, but deep, and it affects everything, from small purchases to big decisions. This is where money stops being a constant source of stress and starts occupying the right place in life. Important, but not dominant. There's a moment when the initial enthusiasm ends. The content has already been understood. The plan has already been made. Motivation has already decreased. It's exactly here that most stop. Not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't see immediate results. Discipline is continuing to do even when it seems nothing is happening. It's separating the money and the month when everything tightens. It's maintaining control when nobody praises. It's studying when tiredness appears. Financial discipline doesn't shout, it whispers. Those who win the money game aren't those who start excited, but those who remain consistent. And consistency doesn't require perfection. It requires continuity. A bad month doesn't destroy a plan. What destroys is abandoning everything because of a difficult month. Over time, discipline creates something powerful: identity. The person stops trying to take care of money and becomes someone who takes care. This completely changes how they see themselves and how they make decisions. At this point, progress no longer depends so much on external motivation. It comes from within. And when this happens, the financial path stops being heavy and becomes sustainable. We live in a world that values speed, fast results, immediate gains, instant solutions. But money doesn't work well at this pace. Real wealth is built slowly, and exactly because of this, so few people get there. Financial patience is the ability to continue investing, learning, and controlling yourself even when results still don't appear. It's understanding that real progress happens backstage. While it seems nothing has changed, something is being built. Those who don't develop patience jump from strategy to strategy, abandon plans, get frustrated easily. But those who understand time as an ally manage to maintain focus. Not because they're smarter, but because they accept that the process has phases. Gradually, this patience begins to be rewarded, not with big explosions, but with stability, with safer choices, with less anxiety. And when tranquility arrives, it's worth more than any quick gain. At this stage, money stops being a race. It becomes a path, and those who learn to walk without hurry get much further. Many people believe that taking care of money needs to be complicated. Huge spreadsheets, difficult terms, complex strategies. But the truth is that the simpler, the greater the chance of working. Simplicity is a powerful ally of constancy. When you simplify your financial life, you reduce errors. Fewer disorganized bills, fewer impulsive decisions, less stress. A simple plan is easy to follow, and everything that is easy to follow tends to be maintained for longer. Knowing how much you earn, how much you spend, how much you invest, repeating this month after month. It may seem too basic, but it's exactly the basics done well that build solid results. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing the essential consistently. This simplicity brings lightness. Money stops being a confusing problem and becomes something manageable. And when something seems manageable, the person gains confidence. Confidence to continue, adjust, and grow. Here, the financial journey begins to become sustainable. Without excesses, without hurry, without unnecessary complication. If you observe everything that has been said up to here, you'll notice something important. Wealth isn't an event, it's a process. It doesn't happen at once. It doesn't depend on luck, and it's not exclusive to those who were born with advantage. It's built in repeated decisions every month, even when nobody is watching. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for an external change. A raise, a perfect opportunity, an ideal moment. But those who really transform their financial life understand that change begins from within. It begins when you take control, learn the rules, and decide to play with strategy, not by improvisation. You don't need to do everything at the same time. You just need not to stop. Adjust when you make mistakes. Continue when it's difficult. Trust the process when results are still small. This is how ordinary people build a solid foundation and stop living on the edge. And perhaps most important, taking care of money isn't about accumulating numbers. It's about freedom. Freedom to choose, to live more calmly, to not depend on fear. When money is organized, the mind also becomes lighter. If this message made sense to you, don't let it be just another video watched. Take at least one idea from here and apply it still today. Small actions, done continuously, change entire destinies. Like this video, it helps the channel grow and takes this content to more people who also need to hear this message. Subscribe to the channel because here you find real, direct and applicable knowledge without empty promises. The money game isn't won by those who run faster, but by those who understand the rules and remain on the path until the end.